In Event Horizon 1997, humanity attempts faster than light travel by folding space-time. The experimental starship, Event Horizon, vanishes on its maiden voyage, mysteriously returning 7 years later near Neptune. A rescue crew boards, hoping for answers, but finds unimaginable horror instead. The ship's experimental gravity drive didn't just fold space, it opened a portal to an unspeakable dimension resembling hell itself. Crew members begin experiencing terrifying visions personalized to their deepest fears and guilt. Hallucinations blend reality and nightmare, driving characters to madness, violence, and self-mutilation. The evil isn't simply external, it seeps into minds, forcing the crew to confront past trauma in the worst possible ways. The event horizon itself becomes alive, a twisted entity craving suffering and souls. What makes this universe especially dark is its ruthless approach to human psychology. Rather than mindless creatures, the ship manipulates emotional vulnerabilities, turning good intentions into fatal weaknesses. It implies a chilling concept, that beyond our known universe lies a dimension so horrific it can corrupt anything it touches. Redemption is impossible, survival unlikely, and death not even the worst fate imaginable. Crew members become trapped eternally in agony, transformed by the malevolent force that defies scientific or moral explanation. This universe's ultimate darkness lies in the idea that humanity's noble drive to explore could unleash an ancient evil capable of reducing individuals to tortured, hopeless husks. Event Horizon is a nightmare without mercy, proving that sometimes the worst horrors lie not among stars, but within our own minds and ambitions. The Road explores a world after an unspecified catastrophe destroys civilization, plunging Earth into a bleak, lifeless wasteland. The skies are perpetually gray, the land covered in ash, and food and warmth have vanished. Humanity's remnants exist in grim desperation, scavenging empty houses, burned forests, and abandoned towns. At the heart of this desolation are a father and his young son traveling south, seeking warmth and survival in a world without hope. Along the way, they encounter cannibalistic gangs, starving survivors driven insane, and the haunting remains of humanity's once proud achievements reduced to ruins. The greatest threat is not the landscape, but other humans who have abandoned morality entirely, preying upon the weak to stave off their own deaths. This universe's darkness comes not merely from physical hardship, but from the erosion of human decency and morality. It depicts a chillingly plausible version of humanity stripped of all civilized pretenses. Trust becomes impossible, and kindness is rare and dangerous. The father struggles to maintain his son's innocence while teaching him survival tactics that contradict compassion. The narrative poses disturbing questions. Is humanity's true nature compassionate or monstrous when stripped of society's rules? Can morality survive total collapse? The Road suggests that civilization is fragile, built upon delicate agreements easily shattered by scarcity and fear. Hope is a dwindling flame, survival itself often meaningless. Yet amid unending horror, the father and son's bond is heartbreakingly human, suggesting our best and worst impulses are eternally intertwined. In the Hellraiser universe, darkness isn't accidental. It's actively sought by those craving forbidden experiences. Individuals solve an ancient puzzle box known as the Lament configuration, opening doorways to a realm of grotesque sadistic beings known as Cenobites. These entities consider pain and pleasure inseparable, bringing unimaginable torment to those who summon them, intentionally or not. The Cenobites aren't mindless torturers, they're intelligent, philosophical beings who consider their grotesque mutilations sacred transformations. Their leader, Pinhead, calmly explains their disturbing philosophy, that suffering, if intense enough, can become transcendence. Victims face eternal unending pain in hellish labyrinths, their bodies twisted into monstrous forms as punishment or reward for their curiosity. The universe's horror lies in blurring pleasure and agony, consent and coercion. Individuals seeking ultimate sensory experiences instead find internal damnation. Desire itself becomes dangerous as the Cenobites twist humanity's natural pursuit of pleasure into a path toward infinite suffering. Innocent bystanders too become entangled, punished merely for proximity to someone else's reckless pursuits. Hellraiser is dark because it weaponizes human curiosity and desire, warning that certain forbidden knowledge leads only to ruin. The Cenobites' promise, "We have such sights to show you," is chillingly precise because it implies humans themselves choose their own torment. There's no escape, no redemption. Once the box opens, doom follows inevitably. This universe is terrifyingly effective because it portrays humanity's innate cravings as self-destructive traps, endlessly cycling between fascination and horror. In the near future of Children of Men, humanity faces extinction from universal fertility. No child has been born in nearly 2 decades, plunging civilization into hopeless chaos. Societies crumble, nations collapse into authoritarian regimes, and global despair takes hold. People live without purpose or hope, knowing humanity's end is inevitable within their lifetime. The United Kingdom, where the story unfolds, exists as a police state, violently suppressing refugees and internal dissenters. Xenophobia and cruelty rise as humanity's days dwindle. Amidst the hopelessness, Theo, a disillusioned bureaucrat, discovers a pregnant refugee named Key. Her miraculous pregnancy represents humanity's last fragile hope. Yet this universe's darkness isn't just from external collapse, it's psychological. Humanity collectively faces the certainty of extinction, leading many to nihilism, suicide, violence, or despair. Social structures crumble not just physically, but morally. Hope itself becomes dangerous. Key's pregnancy makes her a target for competing factions, each exploiting the miracle of their agenda. Children of Men poses devastating existential questions. What meaning remains when humanity has no future? How do societies behave when there's nothing left to lose? This darkness comes from portraying not just humanity's decline, but the loss of hope and meaning itself. Despite the eventual glimmer of renewal, the world remains brutal, morally corrupted, and forever scarred by despair. In George Orwell's 1984, society is controlled by a totalitarian regime under the omnipresent gaze of Big Brother. Privacy, individuality, and freedom no longer exist. Citizens live in constant fear, monitored by thought police who punish even unspoken rebellion. Language itself is manipulated to erase dissenting thoughts, reducing human expression to obedient conformity. Protagonist Winston Smith attempts rebellion through love and private thought, but finds even these stripped away. He's captured, tortured, and psychologically broken until genuinely loving Big Brother. Orwell's dystopia isn't merely physical, it invades and controls minds, forcing individuals to betray themselves completely. This universe is deeply dark because it systematically dismantles individuality and truth. The regime doesn't just suppress resistance, it reshapes reality, forcing citizens to accept blatant lies as unquestionable truths. Concepts like freedom and love become meaningless. Even resistance proves futile, as rebellion only strengthens the state's oppressive control. The darkest horror here is psychological manipulation's effectiveness, reducing individuals to hollow shells serving totalitarianism willingly. 1984 portrays a chillingly plausible future, warning humanity about authoritarianism's extreme consequences, total mental enslavement, and permanent destruction of individuality. In the mist, ordinary people quickly lose their humanity, driven by fear into violence and irrationality. Initially hoping for rescue, they devolve into a frightened mob dominated by religious zealotry, superstition, and panic. The monsters outside are lethal, but the real horror is how swiftly civilization's facade collapses, replaced by brutality and blind fanaticism. Characters are forced into impossible decisions, turning neighbors into executioners. Mrs. Carmody, a religious extremist, manipulates the terrified group into believing the mist is divine punishment, leading them to sacrifice innocent victims to appease imagined gods. Rationality crumbles as terror overrides compassion, showcasing the darkest elements of mob mentality and human desperation. This universe's ultimate darkness comes from its profound pessimism about human nature. It portrays society as inherently fragile, with morality easily overwhelmed by primal fear and panic. The film adaptation's devastating finale drives this theme deeper. Protagonist David Drayton mercy kills his own son and friends, believing rescue impossible, only to realize moments later that rescue was imminent. The mist clears just as humanity's darkest actions culminate, leaving survivors haunted by their unnecessary choices forever. King's story grimly illustrates that the scariest monsters aren't lurking in the mist, they're inside us, emerging with horrific ease when society's fragile structures collapse. In this universe, the most disturbing revelation is that humanity itself may be irredeemably flawed, capable of atrocity even greater than the supernatural horrors surrounding it. In A Quiet Place, Earth is overrun by alien predators who hunt entirely by sound. Humanity, reduced to small isolated survivors, must live in perpetual silence. Noise means instant death. Even basic human actions like speaking, walking, or crying out in pain become deadly. Families live under relentless tension, communicating in sign language and adopting silence as their only means of survival. The Abbott family represents humanity's desperate attempt to maintain some normalcy amid unending fear. Simple tasks like childbirth become terrifying ordeals, threatening their existence. Death strikes suddenly, silently, and ruthlessly. The trauma of losing loved ones under constant threat emphasizes emotional devastation beyond mere survival. What makes this universe so intensely dark is the constant psychological strain. Characters aren't merely surviving, they're enduring a cruel existence stripped of basic human expression and joy. Laughter, music, conversation these fundamental parts of humanity become forbidden luxuries. Children grow up traumatized, conditioned to perpetual fear, never knowing life's simple pleasures. The film highlights a bleak truth. True survival demands profound sacrifice, stripping humanity to its rawest, most desperate form. Relationships remain loving, but haunted by grief and anxiety. A Quiet Place illustrates how the human spirit can endure, but at immense emotional cost, forever scarred by the daily terror of merely existing. Black Mirror depicts a near-future universe where technological advancements amplify humanity's darkest impulses, creating nightmarish scenarios. Each standalone episode explores disturbing possibilities, revealing how technology often intensifies human cruelty, narcissism, paranoia, and exploitation rather than solving societal issues. From mind-uploading consciousness into torturous digital prisons, White Christmas, to societies driven to violent punishment by social media, hated in the nation, Black Mirror consistently portrays technology as magnifying humanity's most twisted characteristics. Humanity's obsession with status leads to ruthless social cruelty, nosedive, while virtual realities imprison consciousness in unending psychological torture, USS Callister. This universe's darkness is uniquely disturbing because it feels disturbingly plausible, reflecting contemporary anxieties about privacy, surveillance, social media, and digital dependence. It exposes uncomfortable truths. Given powerful technology, humans will often misuse it, leading not to utopia, but dystopia. Individual episodes end in devastating emotional revelations, often leaving characters trapped permanently in technological torment. Black Mirror doesn't merely explore technology, it critiques humanity itself, arguing our darkest tendencies become amplified by digital innovation. The horror arises from recognizing ourselves and our society's current trajectory. It warns viewers that without ethical restraint, humanity's technological ambition might trap us in nightmares of our own making, an unending cycle of exploitation, cruelty, and emotional emptiness.